All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for Hajime no Ippo, Season 3, Episode 12. All right.
Oh, we're done with 3 rounds. Yep. Going into the 4th, and Ippo he's not looking too good.
This is a very, very restrained, technical fight right now that we're seeing from Ryuhei because, oh my god, he is actually
he's methodical.
Methodically tearing him down. He's tenderizing him, as he was saying there.
Yeah. But he also did his whole underhanded maneuvers and everything to get it set up so that he could even do this. Because
Ippo nearly took him out round 1.
Yeah, Ippo's punches are dynamite. And
train as you will.
A human body is not supposed to take that kind of punishment.
Right. This is a battle sport, after all.
Exactly.
So, you are going to war here, Ryuhei, and he also is motivated. He is angry.
And that's actually probably not a good thing.
Yep. Because somehow his tenacity is actually keeping him in check so that he can beat Ippo on the technical battle right now.
Right, because the thing is that Ippo, your basics are better than his. You can do this, you can do this, but he has more experience with the hatred and vitriol than you do.
Right, so, and Ippo, you are facing your natural counter here, so you need to acknowledge that and thus fall back really hard into the basics so that you're able to actually set up something that can actually deliver some damage. Because those kidney shots you did earlier,
they did a number on
those were good.
But
those were good.
Now,
we needed about 5 or 6 more of those.
And if Ippo is able to get the Dempsey roll going with the whole juke thing, awesome.
Yeah.
Because we haven't seen what that'll do yet, and if it'll actually work.
Yeah. I like that Ippo has also held back on that and is using it he's not using it. It's in reserve, basically. It's prepped and ready to go when he thinks there's a good opportunity. But if he impulsively brings it out as oh no, nothing else is working, I have to use this, then we're headed to a world of pain for you, Ippo.
Yeah.
And maybe there's a possibility that he can out-mental game him here in some ways and try to get him frustrated, but then that leads to a situation where Ippo faces him and he does something that breaks the rules, thus Ippo has irreparable, or at least just damage that's serious enough to where he has to take a break from boxing even for a chunk of time.
He's playing to Ryuhei's tune right now.
Yep.
And
so set the tempo, not my tempo. Let's go, Ippo. So y'all, without further ado, let's get into it. All right, everyone, now be sure to go check out the reaction portion of the video in the description below, then come back here for the discussion. All right, Ippo took a beating.
He got shit beat out of him.
Yeah, the blood has littered the stage mat here.
Sprayed into the air in a fine mist. And Ryuhei has licked it off his lips.
Yeah, it is a bloody heap of a mess that he is in here.
Yep.
And by and by, guys, he pulled it off. Somehow, we are here, and the fight is not necessarily over. I called it right in the beginning that no matter what happens here, these two are going to be a pulpy, bloody mess at the end of it.
And they will be.
And I'm very certain they will be now. Because the fact that they end the episode there, they are not ending the match.
Right.
That was the very beginning of the next episode.
Oh, yeah. That was one of the things I was very curious to see is because one of the biggest strengths of the Dempsey roll is that once you connect, you keep connecting, right?
Yep.
And you destroy the person.
Right.
We only saw the first punch land. And we know that Sawamura's instincts are ridiculous, off the charts kind of stuff, right?
He might just hung her.
He might
take the drop. And
right, exactly.
Nope, I don't want anything else.
Just fall to his ass and be like, okay,
I'm going to count out the clock.
That was the thing. I'm going to count out the clock, recover from that, know that that's a thing he can do now, and make sure that the damage that I take from that is mitigated so I can still be in this fight. And that feels like something that's it's on his style, right?
Yeah, but he's biting into the meat now.
Yeah, he is. Right, exactly.
He's tasted blood.
Literally. So now, So the hunger has set in, and I could totally see him also overcommitting.
Right.
Because he's he's thirsty, right?
Yeah. Now the hunger might take control to the point where this becomes a battle of monsters, where will Ippo's incredible stamina and capacity to put out results despite being absolutely pulped, versus Sawamura's just absolute frenzied desire. Like it's almost like a bloodlust, really, if you will. Like
straight up,
he's literally lusting for Ippo's blood.
Like, the part where he okay,
they're showing the muscles.
Well, the muscles. But then when he was like feeling Ippo,
that was so creepy because they're mitts. Like
how could you even feel it that much underneath them? But like because there were points in this where where Sawamura could have pressed his advantage and he didn't. Right?
Yes.
And for character reasons, it totally made sense. Now, since I'm hoping Ippo will still beat Sawamura, that's going to be one of those fatal flaw things. And because it's a character thing, I love it, right? And the fact that it's also something so chilling, it's a good way to still provide entertainment in that vein, even though it isn't immediately making the stakes even more dire for Ippo, right?
True.
You know, but because
it is something where the match could have ended a couple rounds ago.
Right, because like feeling up the meat and being like, oh yeah, I can almost feel my teeth sinking into it right now. It's like,
it's really
okay, that's full on like vampire, like
it's cannibal. Like he's basically succumbed to his base instincts here. He's thrown himself back into that moment right before his dad murdered him. And, and he's like, oh, that steak. Yeah, I remember that.
Right.
Oh, it's kind of interesting to frame it through the lens of nostalgia because every time the teacher gets brought up and basically kind of thinking back of like, no, this is the path you're going to go down. No. Like I was hoping that Ippo might be able to derail you hard enough that you might get the opportunity for a reset or something here. But he's like, no, you'll continue onward. You'll lose that little shred that I know is in there. And no one will be able to stop you. He's like, look at you. You have talent that's just oozing out of everywhere. There's nothing anyone knows what to do about you.
I love how his coach is someone who is, on the one hand, like appalled with the behavior, you know? And at the same time, he's like, goddamn. Like, I can't argue with these results.
Like so majestic. He's like, the way you stand there.
Yeah, it's terrifying and awe-inspiring at the same time, right?
Yeah.
You know, great and terrible. You know, like so the way that Sawamura was presented here was fantastic. I loved the fact that he was even risking the kidney punches to bait Ippo into doing the Dempsey role, right?
Yeah, I don't think he was specifically letting the kidney punches happen, but he needed to go on to full defense until that can happen because those punches still hurt.
Right. Slowing down the bullets a bit so that way Ippo could get confident that, I'm getting faster. I'm beating you, right?
Yeah.
And then he can go in for the finisher when that is not the time to do it.
Yeah, he basically broadcasts to Sawamura, hey, I'm about to do the Dempsey roll. Which, like, this whole episode was basically, you know, even by the title, The Perfect Dempsey Crusher and stuff like that, was basically saying, this is where it's happening. This is where he's going in for it. Now, we have some stuff that we'll need to bring up. We're going to save it a little bit for later in the discussion here. But Jacob and I have some pretty intense discussion about where this episode kind of maybe flubbed a little bit in terms of execution regarding some things. But we've got Kamogawa. Kamogawa in the intense position where he might need to throw in the towel. Because Ippo's life is potentially in danger here.
And I believe it. Like with the amount of punishment that Ippo took, like that whole point in what was it, the fourth round? Or maybe it was the fifth round. No, it was
this episode started with the fourth round.
Oh, right. So it was the fourth round, and then he went into the fifth round and he had no energy and he was just getting the snot beaten out of him, right? That is one of those things where it's like, what the hell are you doing? Like, you know that this guy will kill Ippo if he gets the chance because he just loves this so much. And Ippo is just literally just walking forward into his blows. Like the fact that Ippo didn't go down, and just get completely knocked unconscious, that is a testament to his stamina, his perseverance, his physical capabilities, all the training that he did, which you helped with, Kamogawa. So, you know, the fact that he's alive right now is that's
right.
That's good. That's really good.
Ippo is a character that has been removed from the typical shonen framing of the underdog for quite a while.
Yep.
He has now been going through tons of championship title matches where he defends his title, which is not typical of the usual shonen protagonists where they have an ever array of more difficult opponents to fight against. Ippo more just ends up in these technical kind of things where there are people that are hungry for his position, so they study him. They try to use their gimmick to beat him, when Ippo is stronger, sometimes even faster, tougher, just able to deliver punches that in one hit...
punches.
Like, Ippo's uppercuts, because they didn't, like, really connect too much here... I think that's the reason why he's still standing. There was one uppercut that
where it was going for his chin,
where it was about to be the kill punch there, and he barely missed it. Like, he nearly hit his nose.
And I love that because of how this show has been set up and Ippo's boxing capabilities and everything, this is the... you're dodging one-hit kills. Like, not kills, you know, he wouldn't actually die, but, like, from the boxing match perspective,
you might not get up after that.
You might not get up after that. Like if the kidney shots are that bad, right, like, that will lay you out, right?
But this guy is in love with this.
He's in love with this. He's in tune with this. His instincts are ridiculous, and he has been preparing for this.
Oh, he's been savoring the meal coming out.
And that's something that I have really loved about the different dynamic with these championship matches, because even though since Ippo's the champion, it's he's not the underdog, he should have the advantage, you know, blah, 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 and Ippo's the main character, so he's probably going to win, right? He's not going to get unseated from his championship position. But we get to see...
He has to face Miata at some point.
Exactly, right. But we get to see how he defends this position, right? Because this is where... And this is really the best instruction that he could ask for, because now there's a bunch of hungry people out there, whether it's this kind of hunger or other kinds, that are keeping him honed, that are basically saying, okay, you've gotten to this point because of your, you know, downright freakish strength and abilities and all of this stuff and the training, but there are weaknesses in your technique, and we will exploit them. We will push on them until they break, right?
And Ippo as a character is getting to experience the thing that he noticed in other champions, like Takamura, or the guy who's left own the world, the featherweight guy. Sorry, I forgot his name, but yeah,
Carlos. Wait, no,
it was not that, but that guy, But basically, that power that you get from being the champion allows you to basically be like honed in with this mental game that is just unbeatable, because he's like, no, like I've defended my title many times before this. While this guy is terrifying, he has that reserve to draw upon here. And it does ultimately come down to, in this episode, will, power of friendship. He channels all
determination,
and he remembers what Volg did for him. He utilizes the memory of how that counter felt, the angle it came in, all this stuff, to where he was prepared for the two that he got before he ends up going with the...
Actually land the Dempsey.
With the Dempsey.
The alteration that he has for it, the Dempsey juke.
I'm calling it the Dempsey donut for now, because they literally made the sound of car tire screech breaking. Right. Which is cool because we have jet engines for when it's winding up. But then we have the... that sound.
As far as the inspired visuals from that, it's all right, and you've got to the visuals that come to mind as a result of the audio, it's it's like, all right, you've got a jet just screaming across the sky, right, high in the sky, untouchable, all that stuff, because it's just going that fast and that big and awesome. Now it breaks while in the air. And then keeps going
to a stop,
and then goes again. Like that is actually ridiculous, right? It's a great way to showcase just how insane it is that Ippo is able to do this, right? Because
while in this physical condition,
and all that stuff. So
let's talk about the issues with this episode in a structural standpoint.
And I think we disagree on this a bit.
We do actually disagree, but there are areas where we do agree.
So there was a part of this. I loved the visuals of when it finally happened and Ippo landed that punch and he's got the blood coming down his face and everything. But I actually was really bothered by the fact that it took that long to get to that point, because and this is for a few reasons. Ippo knew that this counter was devastating, right? Because, Volg did it against him and everything. Like it's been built up that this is a technical battle, right?
Yep.
Ippo's been winning based on like physicality and determination and all that stuff, but now it's the rock, paper, scissors, what beats what, right?
Yep.
And he went into the Dempsey role twice vanilla.
Right.
Why when
the argument should be that the second one was when he went in with the new technique,
or even potentially the first one,
or just at least the second one,
right? At the very least, the second one, right?
Because I totally understand that.
Because the on a held back punch, it knocked him out cold for a severe amount of time, right?
Right.
So I would now they didn't show his internal thoughts during this point, so I was a little bit curious of what the situation was there, because I could totally the biggest like sort of justification thing for it that I could see that wasn't like meta decision making stuff, but like Ippo character decision is that he's like, okay, I think I can actually take it from this guy because I got it from Volg.
Yep.
I'm going to do this. I'm going to lull him into a false sense of security.
Like he did with me earlier.
So that way he isn't assuming that I will have some trick up my sleeve when I am being predictable.
That I'll look desperate. He'll go all in for it as well.
And then I'll get
be able to beat him in the classic one punch style. Yep.
Now,
that's basically the reasoning I have for it as well.
Right. The main issue that I have with that is that we didn't see, like, we have no idea whether Ippo was actually thinking that or not. And because he hasn't ever actually taken a full counter in this situation, like it's supposed to be the one that could potentially kill him. Mm-hmm. It felt like a technical resolution, something that was built up to be a technical resolution, ended up going back to the Determinator resolution.
Yep, that's the main issue I have with it as well. So I was hyped as hell about the whole thing actually happening. Mm-hmm. But yeah, thinking on it in terms of like the things that I would say that maybe I felt this episode was building up for more, like you were saying there, is that I would have really preferred to have Ippo basically not apply the Dempsey roll a second time until he was actually willing to go through with the technique.
Oh,
now, to be fair, the second time was very early on within the windup of it before he was actually able to get it to work.
Yes.
Thus, Ippo does need to actually get into max speed windup before he can actually deliver the special new Dempsey roll with the, I'm calling it the Dempsey roll donut. I don't even care if that's a dumb name. Until he can deliver the Dempsey roll donut, he needs to have him full on sucker his arm into that donut hole.
Right.
And then he's able to actually make this work.
The other thing that I was thinking about, actually, that I forgot to mention this, that was the original thing that I was thinking is that Ippo was actually trying to set that up, but he still just didn't have the timing quite right.
Yeah.
And before he was able to do it, he ended up getting countered, right? And then finally in this situation, when Sawamura is maybe a bit too comfortable in this, then he's able to land it.
Because he's now countered him at least, I think, 3 or 4 times, even though only 2 of those were
Dempsey's. Yeah.
He's countered him enough times to where he feels not only confident in his abilities, but he also is now full on in his bloodlust. We saw it at the last quarter of the episode that he starts laying into him in a full-on just 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2 rotation, maybe even in some ways getting predictable in the same way that Ippo did. So my criticisms of this episode are more just that I knew that Ippo, that
he's got to win.
Ippo's got to win.
Yeah.
It's hard to separate yourself entirely from the meta of the situation, but in the moment-by-moment stuff in the episode, you just get so immersed in it because of the presentation of it. It's just so fun.
The presentation of it was quite good.
But I totally understand the way in which something that you feel like is being built up a certain way can kill that immersion rather quickly and thus ruin some of the enjoyment from it. So I totally understand that. The thing that I just have as a backbone thing with regards to this is that Ippo as a character is no longer the underdog where he needs that kind of Determinator stuff or what have you. That's just the stuff that's going on in his head at the time.
That's vanilla baseline,
Yeah.
He's used to that.
If anything, it's the technical exposition of Volg, and this is the part that I feel like is why it's very much in character here. Volg, he was not actually trying to fight him. Volg is not this guy. He doesn't care about kicking Volg's ass.
Right.
Like, he's not actually going to be going at it with that full intensity. Now, I believe he did in that, but the mental game of that is something you can't just gimmick. You can't just fake it. You can't just channel it. Ippo, at this point, has been muttering in the corner about how I will not lose to this guy, so that he makes a mockery of boxing, not just for me, but for every boxer in Japan. So he
does not have a cool head, and that's what Kamigawa's told him. Cold head and fire, punches of fire, right? That's what'll take this guy out, right?
Yeah, cool head, but he's basically needing to get in the zone and be ready for this here.
Right.
It took just some serious damage before he was probably able to even realize, okay, I have literally nothing left. I have to abandon that, and in this moment just become one with my body, make this happen. And I'll just throw out there a little bit that, he rolled his D20 and he passed the check. There was a very real chance that he just got countered because his body gave out a specific time there.
Like, once he was at the point where especially after the second counter, I was thinking, no, Kamigawa, maybe you should just call the match, because I didn't think Ippo would actually be able to muster the strength to actually do the Dempsey roll and the juking and everything in that state.
Yeah, and I feel like that's the part where I think maybe you forgot about the Sendo match.
Because that's Ippo's thing.
But that was Ippo a long time ago.
Yes, that is true. That is true.
Against someone who was basically potentially denying him the champion belt and stuff. But this is a champion of Ippo who's been like seasoned and continued to train since then, and has evolved a bit since then, and just has more matches under his belt. Like, I think it's maybe hard to determine in these types of
which champion?
Ippo is.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, yes.
Yeah. He's added stats to his belt. He is no longer just the same one there, but also the Sendo match went so far beyond this. Like, counters are terrifying because he's an infighter, right? Like, they're the thing that would be his natural kill, weapon there. And while Sendo is his mirror, and this guy is his opposite, his counter there. The amount of punishment that Ippo took over the course of way more rounds than that one there is just maybe less focused, less dense in how specific it is at specific times.
If anything,
hits thresholds he maybe never got right with Sendo, but
with the way that the fifth round was something where he couldn't really even do anything. Like, even when he was throwing punches, they didn't have the strength behind them to even really do much of anything.
Yeah,
that was something where it made me seem like Ippo was kind of at that limit, that even though he's used to surpassing his limit and all that stuff. And then the main thing is that I'm holding this with an open hand, right? Because there was a lot of buildup for this match, and I had a very particular idea of how I thought they were setting it up to go. With that, it wasn't that he was going to be taking a bunch of damage from Ryuhei. That was a possibility. That was very much a possibility.
Really?
But it was that Ippo was going to be doing damage to himself. When the doctor said only use it 2 times, right?
Yeah.
I figured that meant, and he's like, no, I'm not going to be sticking to that, right? He hurt my girl, right? I thought that was going to be something where he was going to be doing it every single time.
Right. I just feel like that would have been even more kind of shonen power nonsense if he kept doing that 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10
and
times.
Then it would be the dangerous game of hoping that one of them out damages the other before they out damage themselves.
We can still get that, though.
We can still totally get that.
I feel like that's the one, if anything, that realism wise, that's where I just it's anime, and we're telling his story because this is badass.
Totally.
And also, real life is stranger than fiction.
Oh yeah, weird things happen, right? And the human body is a crazy thing.
Yeah.
And this is the celebration of the outliers, So shit gets weird, right?
Oh yeah. So I don't feel like the fight's necessarily over
Well, no, right. No, I think at this point it's going to start to turn around. But it felt kind of like Ippo forgot some of that fire and motivation that he had with the I'm going to bring everything I have to bear on this. And if we got something as simple,
shit kicked out of him though after round one.
No,
he technically
totally
just stopped him.
No, right. But if we had something of like just the simple comment of Ippo being like, all right, I'm going to do it. And then shit, it didn't work. Shit, it didn't work. Right. Like, then
I feel like we already get enough commentary from the sidelines and stuff like that
maybe.
I don't really want to go too much into the head of the boxers unless it's entirely an emotional reason. And the technical side of things, I would maybe rather that be held back for the recap after the fight is over.
So I'm totally with you on that. And this is basically the last thing I have to say on that. On this is that because this battle was a technical one for the most part, and the build up to it has gone over all the technical aspects of it.
Yeah.
It felt like it's yes, I know that his counter destroys the Dempsey. We've covered that a few times, I feel like.
Right.
That's not a surprise here. That's not a we're aware. We don't need to go into analysis on that.
Yeah.
Let's keep the analysis for the things that are new and fresh for this fight right here and now specifically.
Right.
But yeah, and the whole fight's still ahead of us, with now that Ippo has done this, so I'm very excited to see how that goes.
Yeah. But it could literally last just one round because of however much damage Sawamura took, which I'm still in conflict right now with call him Sawamura or Ryuhei. But Ippo and him, I said it at the beginning, they're both gonna end up a bloody, pulpy, nasty mess.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know, man. Ippo's punches have been devastating, even when he's taken tons of damage, because he just puts his whole body into it when it really matters. We remember the gazelle punch just from before, and you just leap underneath them, and bam, they're done, just out.
And if anything, analyze the Dempsey roll, but the real thing, in addition to that the challengers need to analyze, is the fact that when you think he's done, he's just not.
Yeah.
Right? Like the idea that you beat the shit out of him and then somehow from somewhere he pulls up reserves of strength for those dynamite fists.
Yeah.
And then you experience a world of hurt.
Yeah, one of the things that was mentioned this episode, the coach specifically said, "Oh my God, his recovery time."
Yeah.
Because I think that might be something that's also kind of hard to translate in the visual medium of anime, is you need to show it either by the way they're breathing or the way they're moving or just their speed.
Sure.
And I think that's what they did here, was that the coach was like, whoa, he bounced back from that round really quickly. So it needed to be something that was one of those anti-Dempsey roll counters. Because I'll put out an idea here. Maybe one of the things that they're establishing is that this is actually one of the weaknesses of a counter puncher, is that his jabs aren't necessarily enough to do damage to Ippo that it actually kills his stamina recovery.
Yeah, permanent damage, not stuff that can just be recovered from after a bit of rest.
If Ippo's HP recovery is 25 and his jabs are 30, it's not really
the effective damage is not very much. Yeah,
right. He needs to basically hit him with punches that end his HP recovery for X number of rounds,
and from
basically happened here.
Right, and from the character standpoint of things, given that Ippo does best in the more drawn out the fight is, right?
He has sometimes a slow start.
Right, he has that slow start.
Which you didn't have here.
Yeah. But that ending the fights quickly is the best way to defeat Ippo.
Yep.
The fact that Ryuhei went for the no, let's tenderize the meat and stuff. That's again something where it is a character flaw that is allowing something that could have otherwise gone much worse for Ippo
and much faster
for Ippo to actually be in this situation where he can do that, pull out that miracle that he's known for.
Right.
So
and I just really want the teacher's wish to be made manifest here.
Yes, me too.
And
me too.
To have Sawamura have a moment after the match where he thanks Ippo, or at the very least is like, I'll fight you again one day. And he'll be like, yeah, okay.
I loved
and just right. Just pulverized.
I loved the bit where I think it was the teacher that said this. I can't remember what point in the fight it was. But when he's like, if this goes like this, you will never escape that room. like,
that orphanage room. Yeah.
Like you will be in there forever, and because that's the situation here, right? It's a boxing match, but when it comes right down to it, this is all to see if Ryuhei can be saved, basically.
Yeah. So Ippo put it all out there. Mm-hmm. You are an unstoppable machine.
And he looked badass as hell when he did it.
That look. And also the fact that they give plenty of time to show Sawamura's emotion of how he's perceiving all this.
Yeah. Like when he actually does, he's just like, huh? Like wait, what?
That's ridiculous.
His smile goes from creepy to like, nani?
Like what? Also, I think this was a really cool touch. Mm-hmm. Kumi bringing up the thing of, well, will Ippo come back unharmed? Yeah. And basically that he had been brooding quite a bit before this fight. He wasn't himself.
Yep.
And that's being something that she's so close to him, she can see that. Mm-hmm. What's kind of awesome is that I was framing Mashiba as being basically the light version of Sawamura, in that Ippo has fought someone like this before, even though he wasn't a counter puncher necessarily. He had the same kind of
a similar kind
jab
of
defense, kind of technical way in which he shut down Ippo. In that Mashiba's here, in spirit, cheering probably for Ippo.
Right.
Well, no, definitely cheering for Ippo. The guy touched his sister, so he's like, kill him. Kill him. Just, you can do whatever.
Kill him until he's dead, then kill him again.
Exactly.
I'll bury the body.
But the fact that, he kind of notes Kumi's thing there and stuff like that, and he's like, I totally have been there too. I do feel like Ippo has a lot of people in his corner who, while they were all rivals of his at some point, it's the classic shonen thing.
Beat them into friendship. Yeah.
They all, even if they are your rivals, they're also like your
buddies.
They really respect you and admire you.
The closest thing you can have to friends in that line of work.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Miyata also kind of having that thing of, I wanted to see anti-Makunochi techniques. I don't really care about how great of an outboxer you are.
Yeah.
Even if you're the best in the country, I want to see you specifically counter him.
Right. And
Miyata took all that in. He's like, that's it. Just a step back, and suddenly everything comes into your field of view. Mm-hmm. Now that just went into Miyata's arsenal.
And this is what it does to Ippo.
Yeah.
Like, because it's not just, all right, on a technical level, what works and what should work.
Right.
It's but what response does it get? Because Ippo's, the effects that things have on Ippo don't always measure up to what effects they you would think they should have on Ippo, because he's a tough son of a gun, right?
Yep.
So it's okay, all right, yeah, no, that really licked him good. Oh, but all right.
Oh, but here's also the way Ippo counters it.
Right, exactly.
Brilliant. I would also really love to see in the next episode our trio of, champions or kind of champions,
Aoki's a champion to me.
Well, now I'm not even talking about them. I'm talking about
gotcha.
the goats, the
gotcha, the dates,
the sendos and miatas kind of have a little bit of a thing of like, oh shit, that actually looks really painful. And Sendo maybe has a little bit of a holding his torso and his legs, and it's just like ooh. Because then if things go another round or two, I think Ippo's going to do it again.
Yep.
And it's just the question of.
And then it gets into the Ippo. At what cost?
Yeah, exactly.
At what cost?
Exactly.
Now, but the thing I'm hoping is that he's actually able to make this one punch that landed turn into a combo. Because if it's something where he has to Jukumon each punch of the Dempsey in order to get it to land, no, that's too much. That's too much.
And to be fair, they slow-moed it to show the reactions of everyone at the end there. Mm-hmm. So who knows as to what the follow-up is here.
Yeah.
But Sawamura took it full on in the face. Mm-hmm. Like, that is a classic, technique here. Mm-hmm. He just out-JoJo'd this guy's, Keikaku.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. This is some...
You activated my trap card.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, guys... Thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion. If you want to see the next episode's reaction and discussion right now, though, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get an early access there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there, and all this comes with Discord access, so you can chat with us in the community there about this show, about anime in general, and also be sure to check out our Twitch channel.
Yes, the info's in the description.
Yeah, so if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.